So hello all, good morning guys. I welcome you all for the daily current affairs or good morning test session by KingMakers IAS Academy. So this is a daily current affairs initiative where instead of discussing the current affairs topics, we'll be discussing them in the questions format, in a prelims question format. We'll be discussing 10 prelims question from previous day's current affairs and one mains question with respect to answer writing, structuring, presentation, diagram, everything. So that is a brief structure of the program, 10 prelim question and one mains question. So which will give you the holistic preparation for the entire UPSC examination. So let us go into the today's session. So before going into the today's session, I found that a few people are skipping the editorials of the week series video. So a few said that they are not seeing it because they are just piling up because they have since they have missed the few videos in the previous weeks, so they are not seeing this week. So they are telling that they will be seeing those two videos first and then they will be seeing the present video. So this is just the technique of procrastination where just the videos will be piling up every week and you will not be seeing it at the end of the day and you will lose and you end up not seeing anything. So this is a very this procrastination is a very dangerous thing which will affect your preparation. So it's not an issue if you didn't see previous videos. We always try to see the current one whenever the current one is releasing, and if you are having time, just see it. Don't avoid seeing it just because you didn't see the previous videos, because this video is about this week only. So knowing this on the contemporary time is always best than reading it later. So this video is about this week means you have to see that. If you didn't see the previous video, then see those videos later instead of procrastinating and piling it up, because just seeing once is equal to not studying at all. So you have to revise it whenever if you see the video, and if you take notes, you have to revise it often. Then only it is preparation. Studying once is studying 0 times. So now let us start the today's session. So let us go into the today's questions. So the first question for the day is about the Harike wetland. So Harike wetland is one of the largest wetlands found in which of the following states? So the answer is Punjab. So Harike wetland was in news because it came on the Sunday paper. This week we had a lot of visitors to the Harike wetland, which is located in Punjab. Okay, so a lot of birds came to this particular wetland for their winter migration. So they are part of the Central Asian Flyway. So Central Asian Flyway means it is a route taken by the birds in the Siberian region to fly through the Central Asia, India, and then they will go to South Africa or they will go to Australia. So they might go to South Africa or Australia, but they will be passing through Central Asia and India. So this is the route. So like how we human beings are having highways, the birds are also having various highways for the migratory routes. Among that, the Central Asian Highway is a very important thing which passes through India. So you can see it is a route followed by the migratory birds which are migrating. So that is the thing here. So if you could see here, Harike wetland is one of the largest man-made wetlands. It's one of the, so it is just one of the largest. So it is not, doesn't mean that it is the largest. Okay. So it is located in the Punjab state. Whenever you are studying any features, you have to study which state it is located and what are all the special attributes. If you could see, Harike wetland is located in the confluence of two important rivers, that is Sutlej rivers and Bias river. If you could note it closely here, this is the Sutlej river which is coming, and if you will be having the Bias river here, these two rivers will be meeting here and they will be forming the Harike wetland. So on the confluence of these two rivers, they constructed a dam. So that construction of dam on the confluence of two rivers led to formation of this reservoir or a wetland in that particular region. So this Harike wetland is also a Ramsar site. Ramsar site means what? So Ramsar Convention is a convention which took place in 1971. It's one of the most earliest environmental protection convention, took place in Iran. Ramsar is a site in Iran. So that is a convention which aims at protecting the wetlands. So they will designate wetlands of international importance and protect them. So wetlands of international importance. So wetlands of international importance will be designated, and they will be asking the governments, and they will coordinate with the governments to protect those wetlands. Protecting of wetlands is of very huge importance for both for the environment with respect to the biodiversity point of view and with respect to the ecosystem point of view. On the other side, it is also important for birds which are migrating. So it is a place where birds find their prey to eat, and that provides the necessary food for them to survive. So in order to birds to live, we need to protect the wetland. So India is having almost 37 sites. So till last year there were 37 sites, and recently they added 2 more sites. Now totally we are having 39 sites. So in 2020, they added 2 sites. Go and Google it and learn where these 2 sites are located, in which state they are located, what is the speciality, what is the river that is causing the wetland. Any wetland, there must be some river or some other water channel which might be causing it. So you have to study those rivers' name also. Like Harike wetland is caused by Sutlej and Bias. So similarly, so there are total 39 Ramsar sites in India. So there is another list in Ramsar site called Montrex record. So Ramsar Convention has 2 lists. One is wetlands of international importance. These wetlands are important and we have to protect them in order to conserve the biodiversity. Second list is Montrex record. So Montrex record is a special list where they will be listing those wetlands which are in the severe threat. So wetland of international importance list is a general list which has a list of important wetlands, but Montrex record is a special list which has those wetlands which are in the severe threat of destruction. From India, we are having Loktak Lake and Keoladio National Park. These Loktak Lake and Keoladio National Park consists of wetlands. So these 2 wetlands are considered to be in the Montrex record. Earlier, we also had Chilika Lake. Now they have removed Chilika Lake from the list. So almost 92,000 to 94,000 birds have visited here. So Harike wetland, they have just they would have given the names of the birds which are coming. You no need to memorize them all. If any of those birds is very critically endangered or protected, you have to study. But I checked, so not all birds are in the severe vulnerable condition. So no need to worry. This Harike wetland consists of Indus River dolphin. So in Bias River, we are having Indus River dolphin. So those dolphins are found here. Smooth coated water and rare freshwater fishes are found. So it was designated as Ramsar Convention in 1990. So the second question. Recently, a team of archaeologists have discovered world's oldest known cave painting. So world's oldest known cave painting was recently discovered. So this came in the Sunday Hindu actually. So not yesterday's Hindu, in Sunday Hindu. So the world's oldest known cave painting is found in Indonesia. So recently, paleontologists and archaeologists, they discovered a oldest known painting in Sulawesi Island. Sulawesi Island means Indonesia consists of a lot of islands. So among them, we are having the first one, we are having Sumatra, then we'll be having Java, and then we'll be having Sulawesi like this. This Sulawesi Islands is shared by 2 nations. The northern part of the Sulawesi Island is shared by Malaysia. So we are having Malaysia here. So this is Malaysia. Northern part of Sulawesi Island is also Malaysia. Southern part of Sulawesi Island is Indonesia. So all these 3 islands are Indonesia and Malaysia. So Sulawesi Islands is shared by Malaysia and Indonesia. So in this Sulawesi Island only, they have found it in the caves. So it is the oldest known painting. So it is almost 45. It dates back to 45,500 BC. So 45,500 BC is a very the previously known oldest thing was 43,000 only. That painting is also found in these caves only. So both the oldest and the second oldest, both the paintings are found in this particular region. So which proves that it is one of the ancient settlements. So there you can find this particular pig. This is the pig image which was found there. So this pig was given in the red ochre color. So the color is red ochre. And if you could note another thing, there is this white deposit. These white deposits are nothing but calcium carbonate deposit. So this calcium carbonate deposits are found in this particular caves. So based on this calcium carbonate only, they deduce their age. Generally, we are having many dating techniques. We all know carbon dating. Carbon dating technique is used in order to study the amount of radiation coming out of the carbon. Based on the half-life period, they will be calculating it. I'm not going into detail into all those things. So based on half-life period of carbon, based on the emission, will be radiation of the from the carbon, will be calculating the age. But it is restricted only to 50,000 years. So only up to 50,000 years we can find the dating with respect to the carbon dating. So anything which is more than 50,000 years older, we have to use this uranium isotope dating. So uranium isotope dating is another technique. So in carbon dating, we'll be using the radiation from the carbon to detect. In uranium isotope dating, we'll be using the amount of emission of uranium. So this calcium carbonate deposits also have few traces of uranium through which you can find. So with the help of this only. So we used this uranium isotope dating to find. So uranium isotope dating has the capacity up to 5 lakh years. We can calculate the dates up to 5 lakh years. With carbon dating only, we can calculate up to 50,000 years old things. So that is the logic here. So know about the types of dating also. So like that only we have to prepare the science and tech. Science and tech will not come from directly from physics books or biology books. So when you're studying the current affairs, if you could note anything related to science, you have to study that. So like that only science and tech questions are also coming. So U series isotope analysis was used here. So it is 45,500 years old based on the calcium carbonate deposit. So these are all the areas from where the questions can come. The third question is about the most read out topic of this particular decade. It is going to be 5G technology. The entire world is waiting for the 5G technology to be used for the to be released for the commercial use. So in India, government is also planning to do auctions for the 5G technology. We are having a spectrum auction nearby. So in that spectrum auction, they have also demanded for the 5G technology spectrums to be sold. So 5G technology is nothing but generation. So which means that we are previously we had 4 generations of mobile technology. That is 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. So before 1G, we had Gandhiji and Netaji. So after that, so I know it is a very bad joke, but still, early morning jokes are good. Kalayla jokes sonna palikum. Okay, I'm going too bad. So 1G means, see, these are all the 5 generations of the mobile technology. So 1G means it is just voice technology, it is analog. So they were using analog signals for voice transfer. That is first generation. From 2G onwards, we started to have the digital. So we started to have both voice and data. Okay, we had voice at the same time we also had data, that is internet. So ever since the 2G came only, we started using the edge mobiles through which we were using the internet. So we had this internet where you can just browse the browser. You can only do the browsing. You cannot do any other things with respect to 2G. In 3G, we had voice plus data, plus we are also having the facility to see multimedia messages. So there was this concept of uploading or downloading the videos, uploading or downloading the images. All these things came with respect to 3G only. In 2G, we didn't have the facility to see videos or download videos. In 3G only, we had the facility to download videos or transfer videos. So voice data and video transfer technology came as a part of the 3G. Next, we had 4G. So from till 3G onwards, we were not using we were using both data, and we were using both analog signal and digital signal. From 4G onwards, we completely turned towards the digital mode. So completely digital signal was used. 4G is also called as long-term evolution. So long-term evolution means we started to use earlier in 3G technology we'll be having normal signals for voice calls and digital signal for internet. So we had 2 signals. One thing is for the call, another thing is for the internet. But with respect to 4G, we had only one signal. With this single internet data signal itself, we were able to both talk and we were able to both do the browsing. So that is called as voice over internet protocol. We were able to talk through the 4G. See, we use the data to talk. We are having this facility of this Wi-Fi calling also. So that is using the internet for the calling facility. So we had that with respect to this. That is VoLTE, voice over long-term evolution. And 4G is that one. So 5G is the extension of 4G only. The same LTE only they are using. The same data will be used for both voice and browsing. But the only additional point which here is the increased speed. With respect to 4G, we had this average speed of 100 Mbps upload and upload speed. But with respect to 5G, we will be having 1 Gbps to 100 Gbps. Sorry, 1 Gbps to 10 Gbps, not 100. So in 4G, we had maximum speed up to 100 Mbps, but in 5G, we are going to have 1 Gbps to 10 Gbps. So that is going to be the thing. So 4G to 5G, it is just increase in speed and decrease in the latency time. Latency time means the time taken between clicking an image and the result coming. So time taken between doing a Google search and the research coming. So that is called as latency time. Time taken for the signal to travel back and forth. So that latency time is going to reduce and the speed is going to increase. So this is only change from 4G to 5G. So that is a brief thing. So you go and study about all these 5 things in the background also. So it is the latest subject of LTE. It mainly works on 3 bands. So we are having 3 bands here: low, medium, high. So 5G is coming in 3 varieties. 4G we had just 1 variety, but 5G will come in 3 varieties: low band, medium band, and high band. So low band will be for the normal people's use, like we will be using. Medium band will be for the It will be for the offices. So the medium band will be used by office and office-like setups. They will be using the medium band. High band will be used by the large corporates or firms or governments or military. So they will be using the high. So we are having 3 bands, and it will have even faster speeds with latency up to 1 to 10 milliseconds. So all the 3 statements are true. You just study this factually. What is the speed? What is the latency? Factually, you just study the difference between the 4G and 5G. So Department of Telecom has sought the inputs in order to do the auction with respect to 5G technology. So what is the advantage of 5G? Since you are able to use the data up from 1 to 10 Gbps, since 1 to 10 Gbps of data is able to be transmitted now, you can use it for Internet of Things. Internet of Things means connecting a lot of devices to single network. So you can connect a lot of devices to the single network because of this huge speed. So in IoT, like for example, home automation, you will be connected to a lot of devices in the home with respect to a single internet connection, like fridge, TV, washing machine, fan. Everything can be connected to internet. You can get control from them. So such kind of technologies are going to be possible, and artificial intelligence can be brought to the mobile devices. So artificial intelligence need huge data processing speed because it will be handling a large amount of data. So in order to handle large amount of data at the single time, you need large bandwidth. So with the 5G, you can easily use artificial intelligence applications in mobile phone itself. So that is going to be the revolution with respect to 5G. So the next question is about intermediate range nuclear forces treaty. Yesterday we saw about the open skies treaty. So this is an extension of it. In the same article only, there was an news regarding this also. So in this year, in 2020, Russia walked out of open skies treaty. So this is not the first time. Earlier in 2009, in 2021 they did. In 2019 itself, Donald Trump walked out of this intermediate range nuclear forces treaty. So this is the first time. This is the first treaty out of which Donald Trump walked out, a military treaty. So as a follow-up of that only, he walked out of various things and he ended up with walking out of Open Skies Treaty. So this is the first treaty which he walked out of in 2019. So that's why it was a news, and it is just a recap news only. So walking out of both this treaty, Open Skies Treaties and Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, is going to intensify the Cold War again. This might lead to they are feeling that this might lead to the arms race again. So competitive development of arms. So that is what the fear which is being established. Now Joe Biden has promised that he will come and rejoin in these two treaties. So that is the one thing. So Trump said that so according to this treaty, let us see the features of the treaty. The treaty prohibited both United States and Soviet Union. Like already we discussed in IR class. Ever since 1990s, they started to do the arms treaty. So that is one thing. It prohibited both the nations from possessing, testing, and deploying ground launched. So you have to note this word here: ground launched cruise and ballistic missile. So any missile which can be launched from ground is prohibited, of range 500 to 5500 kilometers. If you are having a missile which is having the range between 500 to 5500 kilometers, which can be launched from the ground. Launched from the ground means by using those trucks or any launching pad you can launch. So those missiles are banned, prohibited. This treaty exempted air launched and sea-based missiles. Yes, you can have the missiles of same range which can be launched from air, through the aircraft or from the sea, both from submarine or from the fighter ships. But ground launched is prohibited. So what is the purpose of why specifically we are banning the ground launched one? So there is a purpose, because in the Cold War, what they were doing, see, we are having Russia here. There were many nations surrounding Russia. So USA tried to have a few nations in and around the USSR. So earlier we had USSR. USA tried to have these earlier nations like earlier nations which are neighboring to USSR into their alliance through NATO. So if at all this particular nation here, if let us take this, Ukraine is becoming a NATO member, means Ukraine is having border with Russia. So if Ukraine is part of NATO, means then USA can come and deploy this land-launched missile here. If they are setting up this land-launched missile here, they can easily attack the USA. So in order to alleviate the threat of Cold War, because like similarly what USSR is doing, nearby to USA we are having Cuba. Cuba is an ally of USSR. So if at all land-based missiles are allowed, means then Russia can deploy these land-based missiles in Cuba, through where they can easily attack the United States. So in order to alleviate such fears of using another nation as the ground of Cold War, they brought in this particular treaty. Now, why Trump moved out of it? Trump is moving out of it, saying that, see, USA and USSR cannot use it, but there is another guy called China. When we signed the treaty, there was no guy called China. So now this guy called China is also having the nuclear weapons, but he is not having any restrictions. But he's not having restriction, we are having restrictions, so we have to cut down. So Even if he is having restriction, I'll cut down. If he is not having restriction, I'll not cut down, because he is also a threat to us. So this is what the argument given by the Trump the Great. So this is the story which is going on. So we'll expect that Biden tomorrow. Today is the last day of the Trump administration, so I'm feeling very happy. Somewhere, little bit happy. Okay. So next one is replace. So this is the thing. This is a question which I asked directly from the prelims thesis, which I used to put replace action project and go on. So are the initiative of which of the following organization? So it is an initiative of WHO, World Health Organization. So replace action project aims at restricting the trans fat. What is trans fat? Trans fat is a saturated fatty acid. Saturated. We are having fatty acids. So we all know we are having fats. Fats are divided into two: saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats are good to health, but saturated fat are risky to health. So trans fats are those saturated fats. So what is the difference between saturated and unsaturated? Saturated, unsaturated difference means saturated carbons will have single bond with them. Unsaturated carbons will have double bond or triple bond. You would have read this in organic chemistry. So these saturated fats are harmful to health because they might affect the arteries and lungs and create the heart diseases. Unsaturated fats are very healthy because they will help in the production of cell and they will help in the production of muscles. But saturated fats are harmful to health because they'll be creating the heart diseases. So replace action project aims at replacing. So we are having two kinds. So naturally is also trans fat is produced and artificially it is also produced. So naturally produced trans fat cannot be alleviated because that is a entity of nature. But we can eliminate the industrially produced. So they are aiming to eliminate industrially produced trans fat by 2023. By 2023, we are planning to eliminate industrially produced trans fat. Okay. So India has also supported this initiative, and we are also having the targets to reduce the industrially produced trans fat to 3% by, sorry, 2% of all fats to 2023. So see about the Indian targets also. Go on is another initiative because on Sunday Hindu we had this dispatches column where they had a special article with respect to WHO. I also discussed about WHO detailed in my video. It is there in YouTube. And in Go on in this year's UPSC mains question also we had a question regarding WTO. Sorry, WHO. I'm telling WTO. Go on means global outbreak. So it is global outbreak alert and response network. Global outbreak alert and response network means if at all there is any disease outbreak or any other disaster outbreak in any part of the world, then how to respond it. If at all there is an earthquake, what will happen? We are having an NDRF which will respond. First we are having police and fire department which will come and respond and do the rescue operation. Then we will be having NDRF. They will come and respond. They will rescue the people. They will rehabilitate the people. They will give relief to them, and they will be trying to clear the debris and all those things. So this is response. So if there is a disease outbreak, how we are going to respond? Who are the personals are going to come? What is the standard operating procedure, and what are all the skills those personnel should have? So if there is a disease outbreak, who should respond? The first person to respond should be the district medical administration, so district medical department or state's medical department. They should be responding. It consists of doctors, nurses, and the administrative IAS officers or IPS officers. So they should have the training, proper training to do the response. So this GON network aims at providing training to such people. They will be providing standard operating procedure to be followed, and they will be providing the procedure how to contain it, how to quarantine the people, how to take the actions. So everything will be done by this network. With the help of this network, any nation. So both these are the initiative of WHO. So this is replace actually. Review the already existing industrially produced. If you are having an industrially produced transfer, review it, then promote the replacement. Replace is just an acronym. It is having a full form. Then legislate laws to control the trans fat. Then access and monitor the trans fat content in the food. Then create awareness and enforce compliance. So you have to enforce compliance only if you see, you can give the targets. Only if you are enforcing targets with some punishments or penalty, then only people will enforce it. So all the people are not disciplined enough to voluntarily do the compliance. So we have to enforce the compliance to strict punishments and fines. We have to create awareness among the people not to eat trans fat things. So you are also having trans fat free logo. FSSI also released this trans fat free logo, which the food manufacturers can stick in their product. Like if you are buying the Haldiram's chips and all, they will be having this logo, trans fat free. So such kind of logos can be used if your diet, if your food is healthy. So through that they'll be creating the awareness. So government is also running eat right campaign. So we are having this eat right campaign where they'll be creating awareness regarding the healthy foods. So the next question, so we already discussed about the Go On network. So the next question is about the Startup India Seed Fund. So Startup India Seed Fund is a fund which is started by Government of India. So as the name suggests, they are going to provide the funds for the startups. So how they are going to provide? So it is a fund of fund. What is fund of fund? Fund kella fund. So there are already many entities who are funding, like banks. We are having banks who will be having funds to in order to provide the loans to startup. We are having NBFCs who will be providing loans to startups. We are having venture capitalists who will be providing loans to startups. We are having angel investors. We are having a lot of people who are funding the startups. So through this Startup India Seed Fund, we are going to fund those funders. Balakrishna trouble the trouble சொல்ற மாதிரி we are going to fund these funders. So already we are going to fund these people who are already funding so that they will be having enough money to fund these startups. So this is the purpose of Startup India Seed Fund. So this was established by Government of India with the corpus of 1,000 crores. Not 100 crore, it is 1,000 crores. So that's why third statement is wrong. So 1 and 2 is right. It is announced during the Paramb. So Paramb is a Startup India International Summit where various experts on international startup giants participated in it. So Paramb is an international summit conducted in India. So where both the international level great startups and the smaller startups, everyone attended the summit, where it will provide a platform for the interaction. So that is the speciality of Param. So this can also be a separate question, note down. What is Praramb? Praramb. So not Param, Praramb. So UPSC படிச்சாலே சமஸ்கிருதம் கத்துக்கலாம் போல. அந்த கூபம் கும்பி பாகம். It aims to support startups and help budding entrepreneurs to pursue the innovative ideas. Yes, that is true. So Prime Minister started this on January with 1,000 crore corpus. So if you can think now whether such kind of figures can be asked by UPSC. UPSC can ask these numbers also. How many crores? Yes, they have asked. Yes, they have asked earlier. They have asked with respect to rural infrastructure, some investment fund with respect to, so National Infrastructure Investment Fund. We are having this NIIF. So with respect to NIIF, what is the corpus of NIIF was part of the statement. The corpus was 42,000 crore, but in the statement it was written 4.2 lakh crore. So see the difference. They just added a zero and they asked the question. So like that, they have already asked in 2018, I think, 17 or 18. So they can ask now also. I think so it is on 17. So that's why I'm telling you to see the previous year. Only if you are seeing the previous year question, you will understand what they are asking and you will prepare. If you are not seeing that question, then you will not note down this 1,000 crore. If you would have not seen the 2017 question, you wouldn't have seen this 1,000 crore here. So that's why I'm asking you to study all the previous year questions. So study at least 10 years of previous year questions of preliminary before studying. So that is very important. So the next one, UK President Mr. Boris Johnson invited our Prime Minister to attend the G7 summit, which is going to be held in 2021. So G7 is a summit of developed nations, summit of developed, industrialized, or West nations, whatever. So you can use any acronym, or Northern nation. So G7 is a set of 7 nations. So let us see who are they. So let us start with North America. So whenever you are studying the members of the nation, you have to use this continental approach. Continental approach means try to remember it based on each continent. So let us take a continent and identify who are all the members there. If you are taking one continent at a time and studying members of those continent only, and if you go to next continent, you can easily remember. So like continental approach means take North America. From North America, we are having 2 members, that is USA and Canada. So then we are going to Europe. In Europe, we are having 4 members, that is UK and France. These are all the P5 members. Apart from that, we are having Germany and Italy. So the 4 most developed nations in the Europe. So totally how many we had? We had 6 now. So another nation is Japan. So this is the 7th one. Japan is the only nation from Asia. So these are all the G7. Along with all these G7 members, European Union will also participate because all these 4 nations are part of European Union. So they will also participate. Of course, UK is not now, but still. So European also will be participating. So G7 means G7 plus EU. So that is the meaning. Earlier it was G8. So till 1990. So So this initiative was started actually in 1975 itself, and the aftermath of oil crisis. So in 1971 we had this oil crisis. In order to save the nations from the oil crisis only, they started this initiative. So later it became a platform where developed nations will come and meet both economic and globally important issues. So all the developing nations will be talk about the global economic stability, important steps to be taken in order to maintain the macroeconomic stability of the entire world, and they will also be talking about very important issues like climate change. Also, they started to talk. Now, this in this summit, they are going to talk about COVID-19. So there is no particular headquarters for G7. Whichever nation is hosting the summit, that is going to be the base for that particular year, and that nation which is hosting the summit will be having the chairpersonship for that particular year. So this year's chairperson is United Kingdom. So that's why United Kingdom, since our Prime Minister invited him for Republic Day parade, of course now we are not having the chief guest. So earlier he was invited. So he invited back our Prime Minister. Prime Minister have already attended this G7 earlier. When France had the chairpersonship, they invited our Prime Minister. Emmanuel Macron invited our Prime Minister. So that time also he visited. So this is G7. Earlier it was G8. Till 1997 it was G7. In 1997 Russia was added into it because Russia is also a developed, industrially developed nation. But after in 2014, after this annexation of Crimea, so in 1997 it was added, so it became G8 then. Again in 2014 Russia was expelled out of it. Again it became G7. So you have to know this also. Earlier Russia was also member of this particular initiative. So why it was expelled? Because of the Crimean annexation. So Russia annexed the Crimean region from Ukraine. So since Russia invaded Ukraine, they did this. So the next question is about the adaptation gap report. So what is this adaptation gap? We are also having another report called emissions gap report. Emission gap report. So that report is also released by United Nations Environment Program only. Adaptation gap report is also released by them only. So this is called gap reports. So UNEP is releasing it. So what is this gap? So gap means, we are having this Paris summit. In Paris summit, we are having the target that we should control the climate change rise by 2 degrees C. So what is the amount of emissions this world has to cut? This world together have to cut emissions, then only we can achieve this target. So what is the amount of emissions we have to cut? Let us take that we have to cut 100 tons of CO2. Let us have the example of 100 tons. So this is the target. But what is the actual emissions cut these nations are doing? Let us assume that these nations are doing only 40 tons of CO2 cut. So we are doing only 40 tons of CO2 emissions cut, but the global target in order to reach this 2 degrees C necessary is 100 tons cut. So what is the gap now? This is the gap between the required amount of emissions to be reduced and the actual emissions reduction which we are doing. So the gap between the 100 and 40 is considered to be emission gap. So 60 tons is the emission gap. So similarly, we are having something. So this is called as mitigation efforts. In order to face the climate change, you are having two options. If you want to alleviate the climate change, you are having two options. One option is to mitigate. Mitigate means reduce the amount of carbon you are emitting and mitigate the emissions. If you are mitigating the emissions, then climate change can be controlled. That is mitigation, is the one technique. Another technique is adaptation. What does adaptation means? What is adaptation means? வாழ பழகிக்கிறது. இப்போ நம்ம பேசுறோம்ல, கொரோனா கூட வாழ பழகிக்கோங்க. Like that, you have to enhance your capacities. You have to enhance your capabilities. So enhancing the capacity and capability to live with this particular climate change. How we can survive the climate change, even though climate change is happening, let it happen. How we can survive that successfully, not just surviving with all the difficulties, surviving successfully. So with respect to corona, how you will adapt to corona? By increasing your immunity, you can live with corona. அதான் கொரோனா கூட வாழ பழகிறது. அதே மாதிரி climate change கூட வாழ பழகிறது தான் வந்து adaptation. So with respect to mitigation, we are having this target. Similarly, with respect to adaptation, what are all the things we have to do in order to increase our adaptation capability with respect to climate change? That is adaptation. So what is the gap between the target and the thing we achieve? So that is the adaptation gap. So both these gap reports are released by United Nations Environment Program. So remember, whenever a question is there, you can see regarding climate change, you can see that in the two approaches. One is adaptation, another thing is mitigation. So it is released by UNEP. So this gap is mainly adaptation gap mainly focuses. So with respect to emission, we can have a target how much we can reduce. With respect to adaptation, it is not only about the mitigation is only about reducing the emission, But adaptation is about holistic. We can do adaptation measures at personal life. A nation can do adaptation efforts. We can do adaptation with respect to agriculture. We can do adaptation with respect to building construction. We can do adaptation with respect to the road or infrastructure construction. So like that, adaptation technique can be anything. So since it is a diversified area, they are using the finance as the common thing to measure the adaptation. How much money needed to do the take all the adaptation steps, how much money which is being actually contributed. With respect to monetary value only, they are calculating the adaptation gap. So that can also be a potential preliminary question. Mitigation or emission gap is calculated with respect to CO2 emissions. But adaptation gap is calculated on monetary lines. What is the available, what is the funding needed, and what is the available funding? So that gap they are doing. Distance தான் காரணம்னு வடிவேல் சொல்ற மாதிரி அந்த டிஸ்டன்ஸ் தான் வந்து emission gap or adaptation gap. So next one is in which state this Nagi Nakti bird sanctuary is located? So Nagi Nakti bird sanctuary. It is a bird sanctuary which is formed in the two dams. So there is this tributary called Nagi River and Nakti River. Nagi River and Nakti rivers are two sub-tributaries of Ganga River in Bihar. So we have constructed a dam called Nagi Dam and Nakti Dam on the tributaries of these two rivers. So that led to the creation of a Nagi Nakti bird sanctuary, which is also one famous site for bird watching. Like we are having Vedantangal or Harike wetland. This is one important site. It is located in Bihar. So the bird festival has started there. So Nagi Nakti is located here. It is the right bank tributary of Ganga. So there we have constructed this Nagi Dam. There only this sanctuary is located. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar visited and he started this bird festival called Kalrao. So Kalrao means Aparao, Suparao Mari, Kalrao. Kalrao is a bird festival of Bihar. So this can also be a prelims question. What is Kalrao? Match the correct festivals. So Kalrao Bird Festival was inaugurated in the Nagi Nakti Bird Sanctuary. So today itself we saw two protected areas. One is Harike Wetland, another is Nagi Nakti. So I've paused this protected area initiative. I'm doing this national parks in new series. So I've stopped it. Now I'll resume it soon. By the end of the January or in the February, I'll start it again. So of course, in the February I'll start because we will be having economic survey. After economic survey, I'll start that initiative. So wait for it. So the last question for the day is a previous year question, but it is also a current affairs question also. Already UPSC asked this question in 2019 or 18, I think 18 or 19. In these 2 years it would have come. The term regional comprehensive economic partnership appears in the news in the context of affairs of which of the following countries? It is in the context of ASEAN. So RCP is nothing but the ASEAN we are having. So ASEAN is a group of 10 nations of Southeast Asia. They are having the free trade agreement with 6 nations. So Australia, New Zealand, China, then we have South Korea, then we are having India, and then we are having Japan. So ASEAN is having free trade agreement with these 6 nations. So instead of having separately, what they decided was, let us have a common free trade agreement where all the 16 nations are part of it. So it was Asian centric, but ASEAN decided to make this common. So earlier, Japan and New Zealand didn't have a free trade agreement, or Australia and South Korea didn't have. Now, after with RCP, all the 16 nations have this free trade agreement with them. Of course, India walked out of it. So earlier there was the question. So this RCP is in talks ever since 2012 itself. So that's why it is in news. So already UPSC asked it many times in various dimensions. It asked many times. In 2014 also there was a question, but the dimension was different. Sorry, in 2015 there was a question. In 15 there was a question, and in 18 there was a question again. So there can be a question in 2021 also. Okay, so let us go for the DOS questions of the day. So if you are having any doubts, you can just type it and keep. I'll address it at the end of the session. So let us go for the mains question for the day. The mains question for the day is about the big tech company. The big tech company provide beneficial services. Big tech companies provide beneficial services. They have been accumulating vast unregulated power, which might have detrimental consequences. Elaborate. How can India regulate? So this is a very big question, 15-mark question, which is having a lot of subparts. The first step towards answering any question is to identify the subparts in the question. So big tech companies. So who are all the big tech companies? Large technological companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon. Then we are having Apple. Then we are having Microsoft. These are all the big tech companies. So these big tech companies provide beneficial services. Yes. So first step is these companies are providing beneficial services. So since they have asked elaborate, the meaning for elaborate is we have to elaborate the sentence in detail. So we have to elaborate it. So we have then elaborate meaning is you have to address each and every aspect of the sentence. So we have to address each and every aspect of the sentence. Means first we have to address the beneficial services. What beneficial services they are providing? That is the first part of the question. Second one, they have been accumulating vast unregulated powers. So what are all the powers they are accumulating? How they are accumulating powers. And the third part is which is having detrimental consequences. So what are all the detrimental consequences? So what are all the beneficial services? What are all the powers they are accumulating? How that has led to detrimental? Detrimental means dangerous or harmful. So it is another word. So that's why, see, if you don't know the meaning of this word, of course you can understand it through contextually, but understanding it clearly in the examination hall will increase your confidence and make you give right answer. So that's why I'm telling you to increase your vocabulary skills by reading Hindu. By reading Hindu, it's not only about reading editorials and taking points. It is also increasing about your vocabulary. So if anywhere you find a new word, just see in the dictionary. So we have tried the beneficial services, then we have tried the powers accumulated, then we have to write about the detrimental consequences, and fourth we have tried the way forward. Here again they are asking the way forward as question itself, so no need to write the conclusion separately. So that is going to be an elaborate conclusion. How India can regulate. So how India can regulate. So there are 4 parts in this question which needs to be addressed along with the intro and one line conclusion, because already way forward is part of the question, so one line conclusion is enough. So this is the basic structure of this particular question. So let us start with the introduction. So how we can write the introduction for this question? Big tech provides beneficial services. So we can start by writing the we can write the introduction in 2 ways. One thing is we can list out the big tech companies. So there are huge big tech companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, which is having the huge market capitalization. So you can use some data here. So what is the market capitalization of these companies? How well they are controlling the market? So you can write what is the market capitalization of these companies, and then you can start the introduction. We are having big tech companies which is having huge market capitalization, which is having huge potential, which is having the huge role to play in the not only in the global economy but also with respect to the personal lives of the individuals. So like that, generically you can start an introduction. So they are providing a lot of beneficial services which have also turned detrimental. So like that you can write, or by with the data you can write, or you can also write another aspect. We can talk about the recent happenings, anything which is relevant to the question. Like for example, recently a lot of big tech company came under the scrutiny of the government. Big tech company like Google was facing litigation in European Union. Big tech company like WhatsApp faced a huge outlash in India when they brought in their new privacy norms. Big tech company like Facebook and Twitter faced a huge backlash in United States when it was found that they were involved in the electoral fraud. So similarly, you can write about these instances. Recently, these big tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, which are providing beneficial services to us, have come under the scrutiny in these particular nations. So by writing it as introduction, you will be addressing this part of the question, at the same time this part of the questions. And government taking the steps, because it came under the scrutiny, so government taking the steps. So entire question will be addressed in 3 lines or 4 lines. So that is how you have to write the introduction. It should start the it should give a way for your answer. So that is how you are going to start. Okay, so you wrote an introduction now. Then we have to go to the first part. What are all the powers they are accumulating? So they are accumulating huge power. So one thing here is you can merge these 2 parts also when you are writing the answer. If at all, so first you have to write the beneficial services. Sorry, while writing the beneficial services, what we can do, we can use this flowchart approach. We can draw the beneficial services in a box and we can write it. What are all the beneficial services? Like it is providing social media, which has made each and individual person as a journalist, which is a huge medium for feelings of expression, right, to freedom of expression. So then social media is providing news and information. Social media is providing opportunities for people to sell their goods, for small businesses to sell their goods. Then these big tech companies are allowing us to Google search anything which we want to know, provide navigation services. Through YouTube, we are attending various classes. So like that beneficial, what are all the benefits you attain because of social media, you have to write. So all the positive aspects of social media, you can write like this and save the space and time. So this is the first beneficial services. So when you're writing about the next part of the question, so when you're writing so first we wrote the introduction, then we wrote the beneficial services. So next part of the questions can be merged. So how they accumulated power and what are all the detriments, how it became detrimental. You can merge actually these two things. What are all the powers they accumulated and how it became detrimental, you can merge and write. Like for example, they have accumulated huge power since they collect a large amount of data. So this data is being collected in a huge way, which can be used for profit motive things and which might affect the privacy. So you can write both the power, what is the power they accumulated, power of huge data, which can be used, affect the privacy. So that is the detrimental effect. So you can, when you're writing one point itself, you can merge these two itself. So like what is the power they accumulated? They are also having the huge power to create the mood of the society. So they are regulating the mood. Social media is the one which is molding the moods of the people, which is driving the people towards a direction. So they are having this power of manipulating the narrative. So manipulating the narrative means it might move the people towards a illusionary world or a controlled world. So we will not have a free world, we will be having a controlled world where the modes of us are determined by these big companies. So that is one thing. They are huge medium to spread hate. Since all the people are connected there anonymously, it is having a huge medium to create hates and narratives and campaigns, and it is creating a lot of problems in the society. So we can write about the detrimental effects like that. So it is creating hate in the society. It is spreading the fake news in the society, which is creating a lot of problems. So like that, you can merge these two parts, and then you can talk about the how it can be regulated, how the nations can regulate it. So another thing is they are earning crores and crores of money, but they are not paying tax. So due to which the government is not getting the money. So that is the thing also. They are earning a lot of money, that is the power, but they are not paying the tax. So that is a detrimental effect. So likewise, you can write various points. How it can be regulated? First thing is bringing a data privacy bill. So common legislative framework. Then we can bring about the privacy policy or national policy for privacy and data handling. What is the national policy for data handling? Then we can bring about the localization of servers. Then we can talk about the taxing this regime, how we can tax it. There was a separate editorial with respect to taxing them. We brought this equalization levy or GAFA tax. All these things were brought in order to tax them. So how we can tax them by bringing them to the nature. Then we can ask them to ensure that their servers are located. That is called as server localization, data localization, where they have to maintain the servers within the nation where they operate. So servers of Facebook, Google are located in the foreign country, so our data is going out. So can ask the Google and Facebook to establish a duplicate server within India itself, so that data is located in India, it is not going out. So like that point we can write and we can conclude. So regulating of so big tech companies are the futures which are going to control the entire world. So controlling this big tech company will help us in regulating the words towards a peaceful future. So like that, some gimmicks you can write and we can end. Or if you are remembering any quote, you can write, or psychological quotes or anything. If you are or technological facts, anything you can write and we can end the answer. So this is the structure. Okay. So structuring the question is very important. Only if you are clear with the structure, you can write a best answer. So I hope you are clear with this, and of course they will be posting the detailed answer. So in our app, so you can download the detailed answer in our KingMakers app or in our portal. So they gave a lot of points for introduction here. What are all the immense powers? They are shaping the narratives. They are creating hate and violence. There is no accountability. E-commerce companies are getting huge market and affecting the small companies. Pricing and promotion, extraordinary amounts of data. So what are all the measures needed? Competitive practices. They are building a lot of monopoly. If at all there is a competitor emerging, this WhatsApp will buy them. So similarly, like WhatsApp, how WhatsApp bought the Instagram. So how Google bought the YouTube. So whenever they feel that they are having a competitor, they will buy them. So it is creating a monopoly. So data is local, should be localized. And there is a lot of steps which was given in the answer. You can see that. Okay guys, so we have come to the end of the today's class. Now if you are having any doubts, you can post and I'll address all the doubts you are posting. Good morning everyone. Hi Santosh, hi Srimadi, hi Anisha, hello Jayashree, hello Subham, hello Tengovan. No doubts. What is this? You can ask me any doubts regarding the preparation, I'll answer. Not only with respect to today's class. Welcome, Nitya. So, thank you so much. Yeah, keep following, be regular, and don't miss out the videos. Don't procrastinate. Do it then and there. So that's why it is always better to attend live. See, if you are attending live, you will not procrastinate. You will be mandated to attend. So then you will not accumulate. But if you are missing the live, you will be starting to accumulate. Okay, appuram paathukalam. That attitude will come. What is saturated, unsaturated? See, fat are nothing but it is a organic compound. Organic compound means it is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So we all know in organic chemistry, when carbon is attached with a single bond, so always single bond is considered to be saturated. If the entire fats is nothing but a polycarbonate chain, it will have a huge chain of carbons. So whenever two carbon atoms are attached with a single bond, it is called as saturated. Whenever the two carbon atoms are attached with double bond or triple bond, so we know ethane is a saturated organic compound, but ethene or ethylene or ethane is a unsaturated because they will be having two bonds or three bonds. If carbon is linked with a double bond or a triple bond, it is called to be unsaturated. So based on the structure only, you are classifying it as saturated or unsaturated. So saturated fats are unhealthy, unsaturated fats are healthy. So fats are classified into two, good fats and bad fats. That is good cholesterol or bad cholesterol. So saturated are always harmful and unsaturated is healthy. So it doesn't mean that you should avoid the fats. They are telling to avoid only the trans fat. Trans fat is a saturated fat. Okay, any other doubts? Hey guys, if you like this session, share it to your friends. If you are having friends, aspirants studying it, if you like it, if you find it very useful, then you can share it also. Share it with them and ask them to see. I can see a lot of new people attending, so for them I'm telling. Okay, thank you. I hope you would have understood it. If you are having any other doubts, you can post in the comment section once the live is over, and I'll come and answer your doubts in the comment section. So thank you guys. So let us meet tomorrow with another 10 questions.